Right, guys. So I'm going to cover sound today. I'm going to do two different kinds of sound. I'm going to do background sound, just like some generic looping audio, and I'm also going to do a collection noise for when you pick something up. Um, I've implemented a game over screen and stuff into this project. You probably aren't up to this stage yet, but I'm going to do that after the sound one. The sound one makes sense where we're at the minute. So don't worry that you haven't got this at the moment, that's fine. So essentially what I want is when you click play, we've obviously got it set up at the minute where you can collect these different elements and you get a score based on whatever. You could also have it set up so that there's things you hit that kill you. I haven't set mine up like that at the minute, just because today we're doing collection sounds, so it doesn't make sense to have any hazards in at the minute. But you could also use the same techniques we're using with this if for a hazard. So to start with, what I've done is I've just grabbed a couple of, let me just move them out of the way because they're completely irrelevant. A couple of tracks. I've got one track that loops and it's like looping audio, and another for a sound effect for picking something up. Nice and simple. So I'm going to start off with the background sound because that is so easy to do. All you have to do is create an empty game object. I'm going to call this BG audio. You want to add a component. There's actually no coding involved in adding this in there. Well, doing it this way anyway. I'm going to take my track. I'm going to put it into my audio clip just here. I'm going to click loop, and then all being well, it works. Little bit of 8-bit, quite loud at the minute. You can always turn the volume down here. You can mess around with different settings. You don't need to worry about things like the 3D audio or anything like that because it's a 2D game. If I haven't discussed this before, the difference between 3D and 2D audio. 2D audio is something you're always going to have in background sounds, whereas 3D would be if you were in a 3D environment and you had certain sounds coming from a specific object and you were walking towards it and it got louder, that's 3D sound. So it's just 2D sound for the time being. Background audio done. Simply that. Play on wake, so as soon as this level loads, it will play. As long as that's ticked and you're looping, then you should be fine. And as I say, you can play around with the volume settings if it's a little bit too loud or what. So the next bit is nice and simple. It's the collection noise. Very easy to do, to be honest. What you want to do is you want to go into your bird. You want to add an audio source like before. If you can't remember how to do that, let me remove this, and then we'll add a component, audio source. In this, I want to add this clip to it. I want to remove play on wake because I don't want it to play straight away. And what I've done is I've made this so it's on the bird. So regardless of what happens, if something gets deleted or something gets destroyed, because the code currently destroys anything we pick up, the audio is playing off the bird anyway, so it won't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my bird movement script and I'm going to add it into there. So give it a second to load up. It's not even opened up on that screen, but I'll drag it across in just a second. Right. So this is what we have. Chances are, if you did the more advanced score system before, yours looks like this. So in the top, I'm going to declare one variable. That is it. So that is going to be a public audio source. Not an audio clip, an audio source. And this is just going to be collection audio. Nice and simple. I can't spell collection. So that's all I need to do variable wise. I've got here, this is a danger one. That obviously that's not going to have the collection noise on there. But if I put collection audio dot play, open bracket, close bracket, finish the line with a semicolon, and then instead of writing this in my two different audio things, I am just going to come in here and paste it in. So I need to then save this. That's all the code necessary for this. I need to then give it a second. See, we've got our audio source in here now, currently set to none. I'm literally going to drag the bird into there. Audio source, we have our audio source in there as well. So all being well, this should now work. So we'll have his background audio in before. I'm just going to mute that. yes, I did pick the most annoying audio sound for this. But as we can see, when we hit these elements, then it's collecting, it's making that sound, and that's what we need. Very short tutorial today, very easy to do, but what's a game without audio? Wouldn't make any sense, would it? So that's how you implement audio. If you want to implement audio for a danger object, it works exactly the same way, except from instead of putting it on the score, you would just put it on the hazard. I'm not going to bother talking through that because it's exactly the same way. If you wanted multiple audios coming from the same object, so you wanted hazard and a score, just add multiple audio sources to the bird object and select which one you want where. It's as simple as that. But yep, nice quick tutorial on sound. I hope that's all right, and I hope the audio plays on this one, because I know the last video the audio was a bit dodgy. But yeah, cheers.